should take us right into there. Either way, here we go, into the draft. I hit like 3 and 2, and then I thought it did. Just, I'm all over the place this evening. I apologize. And if my mic is still really low, let me know. Maybe some setting got screwed up. I do not know. But we're currently working towards a few adjustments towards the stream. We'll get there eventually. Alrighty. So with this, going into Battlefield of Eternity here, we have Red Rockets on the left and Better Than Yesterday on the right. And if I had a choice of editing the asset, I would have flopped the two just so that Red Rockets could be on the right-hand side. Just little pairing things. You're tight with RRs. Okay. I wish the best of luck to both teams, realistically. I mean, it's good luck. Well, I mean, this is Chair League playoffs. I mean, this is where I want to see. This is a culmination of weeks of training and effort and growing as a team to come to this point and say, you know what, we're gonna stomp the Division 2. Who? That's the real question. Okay, so the Dahaka band is actually going to be coming out from Better Than Yesterday, and we actually have a Kel'Thuzad band on the side of Red Rockets. So it looks like the Dahaka band here, you know, a little telling that they're going for something, and the fact that they don't want to allow Red Rockets to go ahead and pick up that Dahaka in the end. Because at this point, we have first pick from Better Than Yesterday, so they can go into that Kel'Thuzad, and he's pretty powerful right now. I'm not going to lie. A good Kel'Thuzad is something that I do
New
not
follower
want to.
detected.
Well, thank you so much for the follow. Adequate mold? Am I reading that right? Adequate mold? Thank you for the... Like, I was looking at it, I was like, it can't be that, like, but is it that? Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow. All right. Though this first pick here, we typically see a prioritization on either the Uther or... Okay. Typically, there's a healer prioritization in this first slot. And we're actually going to be seeing it from the Rhaegar. Bye, Bandit. The Rhaegar will be picked up here, and it looks like that's just going to be a key element on the side of Better Than Yesterday, so they want to make sure that they go ahead and pick that up right off the bat. Now, the real question is here, what are they going to pick up in these 1-2 slots? I'm leaning over one player's shoulder, so like real time. I don't know if that's tight or just pressing. That's the real question. On the left-hand side, Red Rockets, they're going to be going for this 1-2 pickup here. On Battlefield of Eternity, honestly, if you were to lock in your tank healer, that's a pretty good position because then you can flex on your third slot before the ban phase, as well as you can really flex on that last slot pick. So they're going to go ahead and pick up the Tassadar here and the Vala, and I like this just as well. Tassadar being really good at the lane clear and shrine clear. And he's also a very, very good inhibitor, I guess you could call it, for Vala. He really lends a lot of like assets and tools as he progresses through this game and his kit evolves. He is extremely powerful with that Vala combination, as well as in Battlefield of Eternity with the tight corridors that they have, these force walls could play into the later game. Now, I'm curious to see what their secondary healer is because they're not going to, solo support on that Tassadar.
The wait is over.
But it looks like we're going to be going into a Cassia and Joanna here. So the double blinds, they're going to make sure that Vala gets no value with that Tassadar. And they literally, we were driving down the street with this draft and they just took a hard left. They were just like, you know what? You want to go Vala? We're just going to completely block that idea from you. Now there is a type of, shift in the dynamic where we possibly could have seen a secondary healer. No, actually, we would have seen a secondary healer probably if the Uther, if he didn't get banned out. Maybe even I apologize. Maybe even Stukov. But then you would typically get like your solo laner to go up against whoever's going to be in top, and then you get a strong tank with that. So this hyper carry Vala is something that we often see, and that's the reason I think that they're actually banning the Malthael here, is because of the fact that they do not want to have percentile damage going up against two tanks. On top of that, Malthael does do pretty decent on the shrine if he can get his shroud out onto a lot of the minions. Yes, no, yeah. At this point, honestly, if we were to, if we were just looking at this draft as like, just, the teams that are, the heroes that are currently picked up going against each other, to me, it's very much so on the favor side of better than yesterday. Their draft at this point is stronger, but then again, we don't have a tank and we still have 3 pickups for Red Rockets. Now, the Ariel being banned out here, it's not a bad idea because they are going to be going into that secondary healer. Actually, well, Tacitar's technically the secondary healer, and the main healer would have been Ariel. But I think actually the Stukov could be a little bit more beneficial. The zoning he provides with his lurking arm and the upgrade at level 1 will be really strong for the team. It will help clear out those shrines, and it also will push them back a little bit in these fights and separate some of the members of better than yesterday. On top of that, I think they should be going into an Arthas with it as well. Arthas being extremely powerful on these shrines, the route that he can provide is really good in a sort of chase situation, but we often do see the Diablo on this map, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see that coming out from one of these teams. But just me personally right now, those are the 2 that I honestly think that they should maybe be considering. And there's the Stukov, okay. And they're actually going to go into Garrosh, and that's something I need to remember the new heroes. Like, Garrosh hasn't been banned. In the entire last series that I just casted, it was Division 1. Garrosh, Kel'Thuzad, first 2 bans, all 3 games. All 3 games, both teams would just ban those out. They just did not want to go up against them. And I don't blame them. Like, Kel'Thuzad's terrifying, and Garrosh, a good Garrosh, that can literally carry an entire team. Well, carry is the wrong word. Maybe throw an entire team. Either way, though, the Garrosh is going to be something that they're really going to need to worry about. And the thing is, Garrosh counters Cassia. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that Cassia has to, 1, dive in for the fend. She has a short attack range, so her Q, I believe, is like the only ranged attack she really has. So it's going to be hard for them. Now, the Lucio being picked up here with the Sonya, so it looks like they're really key. They're going to focus on that Cassia being the main asset of their damage. Sonya's probably going to be in that top lane soloing. Lucio will be an extremely valuable asset to this team, being able to speed up the rotations and also getting the AoE healing onto all of his teammates. But this last slot, like, with the Garrosh picked up and the Stukov, like, do you really... They need more of a front line in this situation, so something bruisery wouldn't be bad. But they also want to consider the clear for the shrine. So things like, it's like, do you go into in a melee assassin, or do you go into like a bruiser? And that's like the kind of the duality of the situation that I'm in. Like, well, first off, who's going to be their solo laner? They need to consider that. And it's going to be probably the Tacitar then will be the solo laner in the beginning of the game. This is going to be interesting. I'm a little perplexed by this draft. The new, like, I don't think they're going to get, they might get value out of the Anub'arak, but I feel like a little bit more damage might have been a little bit stronger for them. But we'll see. We're going into game number 1, Red Rockets versus Better Than Yesterday on not Battlefield of Eternity. Yeah, Battlefield of Eternity. Excuse me. I was thinking this is Infernal Shrines like an idiot. What am I doing? I've been casting way too many games. So, I completely was talking about this draft as if it was Infernal Shrines, and then I realized as we were going into this that it's Battlefield of Eternity. So, that completely, like, negates my entire analysis of the draft. Like, The Anubarak is really what I was kind of... I have to just shut my mouth. I have to retract a lot of the things that I was saying. Man, I apologize. I apologize, stream. It's been too long of a day for me. It's one of those days when you just like, you know, like I stubbed my toe and then I fell down the stairs. Then my oatmeal, like I overcooked it or undercooked it or something. Like just like every bad thing happened. But I'm here. I get to cast games with you guys. That's really all I care about at this point. So while we're loading in, I was gonna do it while we're on the map, but it looks like no. We'll probably get the burst of loading speed. Yep, there it is. I was gonna say I can introduce them, but we'll do it in a second. I'm just gonna hydrate myself before we go into this long game. All right. On the left-hand side, we have Red Rockets with Diego Red on Stukov, Kendra on Tassadar, Taku on Nubrak, Fool on Garrosh, and Sir Ginger on the Vala. On the right-hand side, we have Zombie Chris on the Sonya with... See, this is why I usually do in the loading screen. Eric on Lucio, Masterfish on Joanna, Sonya on... or Zombie Chris on Sonya, Marad on Cassia, and Hazu Moziki on the Rhaegar. So we currently have the Tassadar going into the top lane up against that Sonya, so we do have the 4-man in this bottom lane. Now, this is going to be a little difficult on the side of Red Rockets because they're going to need to really worry about these blinds that are going to be coming out from a few members of Better Than Yesterday. The sprays are out currently. Oh, I'm completely... I had to swap over the AIs because the other one actually, with the new update, was like freaking out every time someone got a kill and put a giant white box. So I had to turn it off. So like I'm pulling up talents. I'm like, why is it taking up half the screen? Oh, right, because it's the wonderful Blizzard one. But currently in the bottom lane, we have a few members here. They're just really just going back and forth. We actually get a toss onto the Joanna. Does she have the iron skin at the last second? She actually gets the healing from the Rhaegar and as well as the speed boost from the Lucio. And they get right out of there without a problem. So once again, though, we do have this just midway through the lane matchup. We'll take a quick peek at the top lane here. Looks like Sonya's kind of winning this over a little bit, while Tassadar looks like he will be just stacking up those level 1. This thing is huge. Sorry. I'm used to my old one, which is just like a little tiny thing at the bottom of the screen. It's not even like above the height of the map. We do have the pull-in from the Garrosh. There is the flip onto Lucio. He does have the speed boost trying to get out here. There is a dive-in from the Nubrak, but they do not get the kill, unfortunately. Those Garrosh pulls and throws are a little terrifying. Now, we do have the Punishers... or the Punisher. See, I'm stuck on Infernal Shrines. Dang. But we do have the Immortals popping up here at about 145. And that's something that you can actually take into your quick matches and hero leagues and on ranks. Like, every 145 on this, well, not every 145, but 145 on the map is when the start is, and then once the Immortal dies after pushing the lane, it's another 145 before it pops back up once again. We do have a huge fight going off. They're focusing on that Lucy, unfortunately not getting the kill. Now, they are able to kill actually the flip kill onto the Sonya, and so that is going to be the first kill going over to Red Rockets. We do actually have the dive in from the Nubrak under a few of the members. There is the pull in from the Garrosh. They actually get the silence from Stukov. They will not be able to get the kill. And that is going to be the Tassadar being able to come in here, give a little bit of shielding. Stukov will spread some of that heals. We're going to have the Vala going into that bottom. And let's take a quick peek. She did go into the Hungering Arrow build here, so we will see her being the priority figure trying to damage down the Mortals. Sonya is trying to come in to poke a little bit here. Anubarak is coming in with the Garrosh. Do we have potential for a flip? Looks like the Garrosh will actually stay behind trying to defend here. And I'm going to try and get both of these little fights here in the camera for everyone to see, but I'll do my best. We currently have the rest of the team being pulled in. We actually have the flip onto the Sonya, who will be getting body blocked by quite a few members of Red Rockets. Now, Better Than Yesterday is grouping back up. The Immortal phase is it's halfway, and it's actually in the favor of Better Than Yesterday. Now, with this being postured on the aggressive side, they're actually going to go ahead and go straight onto that Joanna. She does not have much mana. She gets flipped behind some of the team members there. Unfortunately, they will not be able to get the kill. They get to pull in again onto the Sonya. They're starting to whittle down this Immortal quite quickly. And it looks like this is going to be given over to the Better Than Yesterday. They actually get the flip onto the Sonya, pushing her further away. And not yet. I guess they decide they can't really race it yet. They're going to work on getting those Vala stacks. She's at 15 damage or stacks. That's the one thing I need to look at. I believe it's 5 damage per stack. So is that's yeah, that's right. Because she needs 20 stacks. So we do have this Punisher currently. I keep saying Punisher. This Immortal currently coming down the lane. It's going to stay in attack range as long as it has its shielding, so it's going to be able to just work down these towers. Now, they are currently working on this gate. They try and get the pull-in from the Garrosh, unfortunately it will not yield them what they want. Stukov utilizing his lurking arm to get some of that zoning back while they work down this Punisher. Immortal. I need to like sit there and just like stare at the map and just keep saying the right thing. They actually get a huge flip onto the Cassia. The rest of the team does try and respond to it, but unfortunately it might be their undoing. Joanna getting caught out here, body blocked by quite a few of the members. I don't think they have a stun. Vala actually vaulting forward. They're trying to get a little bit more damage out. They will walk away without getting any extra kills besides that Cassia. Now Sonya has gone back into that top lane up against the Tassadar. She's done a decent job pushing this back, making sure that some of these cannons are getting a little bit worked down. Tassadar kind of doing the same thing himself. I mean, we already see in top that there is a missing tower. Gate's about halfway, and the other tower just looks like it's a little bit low. There's a little bit of zoning from the Anub'arak in this bottom lane currently. Looking on just come out from the Stukov. They are trying to just get a few members out of this little bit. This team's spreading out here a little bit, but it looks like they'll be able to get out and regroup safely. Sevens are on the side of Red Rocket, so they're going to want to make sure they take advantage of this. It's only a few seconds, but they're going to want to make sure they take advantage of it. It looks like this is sevens for both teams at this point. Go ahead and just zoom this all the way out so we can still see the lane once I pull this up. Looks like Tassadar is about halfway through his level 1. Same with Vala, is getting near halfway. Doesn't look like we're seeing too much besides that. Now, we do have a little bit of an aggressive invade here from the Joanna. She already used her Iron Skin, and I apologize for missing that kill. But she actually used the Iron Skin on that invade into the enemy team. Now, Vala is quite low here. They do spread the Pustule around, so that will give a little bit extra healing. Looks like they're going to go ahead and Hearth back. They're probably going to actually get interrupted by the minions. Oh, no, they get away. So this will be the Punisher currently being spawned. The Vala and the Anub'arak coming in from the core, so they will be able to burn this down a little bit on the side of better than yesterday. Garrosh is going to be able to get a flip onto the Lucio, who will have the boot to kind of spread them out here. Stukov getting that pathogen to a few members of the team. Vala vaulting forward, trying to get a decent amount of damage out, making sure she works on those stacks. There is the pull-in from the Garrosh. There's the bite from the Rhaegar. There is actually the Iron Skin already used from the Joanna. She does not have that asset anymore. Now we do have the pull in from the Garrosh. There's a huge... Ooh, the cleanse at the last second definitely helping the Sonya, but she will not be able to get out alive. Now there was a dive... There's a dive in from the Anub'arak, but they are not able to get a kill. They throw forward the Stukov, hoping he'll be able to just get a kill into some of these members, but they actually just start to retreat and say, you know what? We'll go start burning down that Punisher. Immortal. But while we have this camp being picked up on the side of Better Than Yesterday, we'll take a quick peek at some of these questing talents, because it looks like this first half is going to be going over to Red Rockets.
I must find another way.
Okay, and with this posturing on the on the safe side, it looks like they're going to have to try and poke this down a little bit here. Vala trying to get a couple hungering arrows in there. They're going to want to go ahead and clear that top with the Tassadar. It looks like that's what they're going to go and do. As well as they're going to work towards their 10s here, but at the same time, ooh, we actually get a flip onto the Joanna, who uses her Iron Skin right away, making sure she doesn't get sent up by the Punisher. The rest of the team is currently coming in and trying to just make sure that she gets the defense she needs, as well as trying to get a little bit of damage onto this Immortal here. The Tassadar is currently working, I think he's cleared top laner already. He's coming back in, so that will be quite a bit of a threat in this fight. Anub'arak throwing the Anub'arak getting thrown right there, and we actually have the Tassadar coming back in here, trying to get a little bit of damage, and he will get the kill onto the Joanna. They're starting to turn this fight around a little bit. The Immortal is low on the side of Red Rockets, but they're still just going to go ahead and invade. They have it on their safe side, so what they can do is they're just going to posture up, and it looks like this will be the second Punisher going over to Red Rockets. And 10s are achieved on the side of them as well, so that's definitely why we saw a huge turnaround from better than yesterday. This Immortal will be going bottom, so they do have the Tassadar going to top. The Garrosh, Anub'arak, Vala, and Stukov will be coming into the bottom. Tassadar actually going into the Archon. We have the Failing Swipe from the Stukov, Web Wrap from the Anub'arak, Warlord's Challenge actually from the Garrosh, and Raid of Vengeance from the Vala, excuse me. We are getting quite close to 10s on the side of better than yesterday, so all they really need to do is just play this safe and not stagger any deaths in the situation. They definitely can get a really good... Ooh, the cleanse comes out there at the last second, making sure that they don't get the pick, because that was potentially a dead Cassie. I mean, they started... You can see the way that they're starting to aggress forward. They really wanted to make sure that they get the kill. And what Stukov's doing is really powerful here is because some of the members are melee ranged heroes, so putting in that... Lurking Arm is really, really powerful. Now the Ball of Lightning comes out. There's also the shield from the Johanna. Ball of Lightning is still jumping from member to member. This Johanna is in the back line quite a bit. The Ancestral does go out under. The Web Wrap does hit the Lucio right away. They get the stun, and they go ahead and they disengage from this. They get the fort, and they honestly say that's enough. The gate gets a little bit of damage taken, but it's not going to be knocked down completely. And that was a very strong push on the side of Red Rockets. Now, better than yesterday, they do still have this Sony in top lane, who has been working down this gate quite a bit during that entire phasing. She does have quite a few good talents. I am seeing... Actually, she didn't take this Poison Spear, did she? Interesting. They're going to go ahead and throw her. Warlord's Channels will come out, and she will be falling. But she... No, she did take... I'm thinking of Ancient Spears at 13, if I'm correct. So she did take the Poison Spear because I was like, wow, that's a lot of damage onto that Tassadar right away. Crap. But at the same time, with this camp being picked up in top lane and that Sonya kill, they're going to go ahead and say, all right, well, your members are up there. We're going to go ahead and invade this bottom. And it looks like they're actually going to potentially get a kill here. They get 2 Rain of Vengeance out of the Vala. The Anub'arak does dive in there, trying to just disturb them a little bit. Lucio did use his break it down there, but if Cassia did fall low, they actually throw the Rhaegar. He doesn't really go very far. A lot of the members of Red Rockets are here. Now, we do have the Web Wrap onto the Johanna, I believe. No, not the Johanna. Sonya? Lucio. Completely just... What am I thinking? Lucio's or Sonya's right there. I swear I saw, like... I thought I saw Johanna getting Web Wrapped, and I guess not so much. But that is going to be the next Immortal being spawned here. They go ahead and they work down this top gate a little bit because that is where the next Punisher, Immortal, excuse me, is going to be heading next. They go ahead and they time this out with the camp on top of that. It's going to be a little early, but that's okay. They're just going... Actually, are they going to try and invade this? They have 13s. They have most of their ultimates. Can they get there in time is the real question. So the Vala actually... The Vala getting potentially caught out here. She gets the vault away. They actually get the Rain of Vengeance on the 2 of the members. The silence is huge under quite a bit. There is the Ball Lightning out from the Cassia, trying to get a little bit of damage on these tanks, but there's actually Sonya in the backline getting his failing swiped away. She pops her out of the Berserker. She doesn't get any value. She does get the Ancient Spear in. Poison Spear doing a little bit of damage there. The silence from Stukov. It's actually a break it down from the... Lucio right away, so that's going to be an ultimate that's burned. If they can just disengage from this, it's going to be really powerful for them. They actually get the stun onto a couple members. The Web Wrap is there. They get the pull onto a couple of the members as well. The Johanna is extremely low, but they actually get the counter kill onto the Val, and that is the majority of their damage falling on the side of Red Rockets. They're going to need to play it a little bit safe here, but at the same time, better than yesterday is a little bit low on health, so they need to just kind of regroup, get a little bit of healing, and start to go in on this while the Vala is dead for the next 20 seconds. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to have the Sonya. Looks like she's going to go ahead and clear out that bottom lane. Better than yesterday will go ahead and get the fort in the top lane with that hard camp. Stukov is now here, so he will be able to provide a little bit of zoning with that Lurking Arm. There's the toss onto the Johanna, who does go behind the wall, so a few of the members do have to rotate over there, but there is the speed boost from Lucio. Unfortunately, there's the Warlord's Challenge under the Unstoppable is used. So Iron Skin is down, but they go ahead and they actually trigger this next phase, and they're actually going to get a little aggressive onto this Punisher or this Immortal here. And it looks like Red Rockets, they do have the majority of their team back, and it's just not sure. I don't think either team's sure of who they're going to posture around. Are they going to go for the offensive or offensive or defensive? But they do get the dive in from the Anub'arak. There's the huge lurking arm out. There's the ball lightning as well onto a few of the members. There's the stun onto the Sonya. The breakdown comes out as well as the Ancestral. So she does still have Wrath of the Berserker. The Archon does come out from the Tassadar. Stun actually onto the Sonya, and they do get the toss under her as well. And meanwhile, all this is while this fight's happening, Sonya's still auto-attacking the Immortal here. Now the enemy team does realize this, so they chase her down. They get the kill with the Rain of Vengeance from the Vala, and that is going to be probably this Immortal going over to Red Rockets, honestly. With the Sonya dead here, I don't think they're going to be going in on this Immortal. They have the Anub'arak for the zoning. They do see that theirs is being burned down, so at this point, as long as the two tanks can just slow them down, they're actually going to get the stun into a couple of the members. They do get the kill. Now the big thing is, can they get the disengage? It looks like they will get the Pustule to a few of the members from Stukov. They're going to have to back here for a couple mana bars, I think. But that's it's still a decently powerful Immortal, and that was an extremely great just Immortal phase for that third one. Just that back and forth there during that fighting was extremely it's just good plays on both teams. Like, it's just phenomenal playing so far. Just checking on some of these first level towns. It looks like just about all the questing towns have been fulfilled at this point. Just switched over the AIs because the ops because they were a little wonky in the last game. We do have the ball lightning coming out from the Cassia onto a few of the members. The web wrap is out as well. There's the break it down from the Lucio. The Failing Swipe does put a couple of the members into that corner. There is the web wrap currently ending for one of the members of Better Than Yesterday. The Pustule does go out, but the Sonya does get the spear forward with her. Oh, she doesn't have Ancient Spear or Mythical Spear, so they do get that counter kill, but they. Meanwhile, all that's happening, this Immortal has lost his shields, got rid of the gate, and is aggressing onto a keep, and they should be able to burn this down before it really takes too much damage. Maybe one more swipe? Yep. That's going to be it for him. So that's about a half health keep. And currently the top lanes they're being won over on the side of Red Rockets. But bottom lane, I mean, honestly, they're winning over both of their lanes, and they currently have the experience advantage. It's just, I don't know, like, I feel like as this game is progressing, as we get into this late game, I really feel like Better Than Yesterday's composition is really going to start to explode. Oh, this is just aggressive. Now, does it yield them a kill is the question. Spines do go out from the Anub'arak just to check. Does not look like it will be getting them the vision that they wanted, so they're going to go ahead and disengage from this, and I think they honestly either didn't realize or they just backed off of that completely. But they actually got this camp quite early. Usually you typically want to time this out with the Immortal, and as I was saying, when the Immortal dies, it's a minute 45, I believe, to the spawn time of the next one, so you can typically use that as a frame of reference. So right now I think we're about 45 seconds away. I didn't look at the exact clock time, but I think we're quite close to it within that range. So yeah, I think it was like 5 seconds off there. But either way, we do have the next Punisher coming up. Immortal coming up, and this is exactly what I was talking about. This is typically when you prioritize the camp. It looks like they know this, and they're going to start to take a fight. Now they need to play safe here because that Garrosh can technically get the flip over the wall, but they end up using it onto one of the minions. They'll be down for the next 16 seconds, I believe. And 16's on both sides, so they can potentially go in for a fight here, but it looks like they're just posturing around, waiting for them to finish up the camp themselves. They get the spin. Failing Swift does go out onto one of the members. There's just that Stukov should have died. They actually steal over the camp. The Boop ends up getting it from the Lucio. The cleanse is there onto the Joanna. We'll get the Sonya right out of the web wrap there, and they go ahead and they steal over that camp, so that's going to be pushing into that bottom lane. So they've got good push currently. That needs to be responded to, and they're going to go ahead and burn down half of this Immortal for free, basically. This should trigger the halfway phase, and if I'm not mistaken, it's going to go over to the safe side. So they're going to have, I believe they're going to have to take a team fight. Now, Joanna did get pulled, flipped, and, everything, but she's going to be able to get right out, get a little bit of healing, and it looks like it's actually going to be the aggressive side, so they're really going to have to be pushing forward here on the side of Red Rockets. We do have the Anub'arak diving forward there. There is the pull, and it did not actually connect onto the Cassia there, which is interesting. But it looks like Red Rockets will be able to save their Immortal for now. do have the Break It Down currently on cooldown for the next 66 seconds. They're going to need to worry about that. Now, Sonya does not have much rage, so she doesn't have that ability to kind of, well, use any of her abilities, but we do see her going in for maybe a long flank. There was a huge Warlord challenge there onto one of the members. The Cassia falling extremely low here. She does get cleansed out at the last second. It looks like she will be able to throw in the lightning bolt, but the Anubrak does go into that backline. Garrosh just trying to get damage out onto that Lucio, but so many of the members of Better Than History are falling so low. We do have the Cassia and the Lucio falling here. We do have also, looks like they're going to go ahead and they're going to once again utilize their 2 tanks and just burn down this Immortal. And I honestly think this is going to be a free Immortal. What they can do on the side of Better Than Yesterday is, you know, poke a little bit of poke damage, wear down those shields, but these 2 tanks are not even going to let them get that poke damage. I mean, Anubrak just bodied that poison spear just so that the Immortal can have a little bit more shielding, and they're going to go ahead and burn this down very quickly and efficiently, honestly. So this is going to be the Punisher going over to Red Rockets, and they're going to go ahead and be pushing down onto this keep. Now, this lane is a little bit... This lane's a little bit stronger than the top lane. Top lane has obviously got half health, and this has just got full health. And they've got a well and a tower, so that's definitely a benefit for them. But as we're starting this Punisher phase, we're starting with a team fight right away. A huge stun onto a few of the members. The Failing Swift goes out. There's actually a web wrap, and there's actually, oh my god, the breakdown as well. Tazadar getting his Archon form out, trying to get that damage out onto the Sonya. They get the boot back just to disengage. Follow will vault forward, trying to just get a whole lot of burst onto the enemy team here. Lucio providing such a quick escape for the members of the team, but at this point the Punisher actually will get the Immortal will get the stun onto the Rhaegar, and that will be the kill onto him. The Anubrak does get the burrow forward. That will be the spines hitting 3 members. There's the blind on the Anubrak here. There's the pull back onto the Joanna. I believe she does not have Iron Skin. Nope. I thought she did for 1 second, and this looks like it could potentially... That is the Lucio falling, and this is going to be the first game going over to Red Rockets. GG, well played. Okay, so let's see if we can get this changed up here. Whew. Let's just see if we can update the Red Rockets wins. Okay, let's see if that auto just kind of triggers the entire website. Round 1 was declared, I believe. Okay, I think... It did update that. And did it say also what the... Reveal your secrets. Please? I just wanted to show the top bar thing, see if it shows the map. But overall, while it's loading that, we'll talk some talents and stats here while we just hear from some of the teams about the map pick. Just that Vala, though. I mean, Sir Gingy. The damage that came out from Vala. 110,000 is just... It's just amazing pickup there. The entire draft I was referring to it as Infernal Shrines, and the Vala pick I really, really like because of the fact that it does burn down that Immortal into the late game, as well as you saw. I mean, she just annihilated so many of those heroes. But at the same time, we do need to note this was a team effort. I mean, Stukov, 13 assists. 13 assists as a Stukov. I mean, that's nearly 100% kill participation. But just participation, like you just get like the little... you could just get the little ribbon for just being around and healing your teammates. Because, I mean, that's healer with 92,000. It was just phenomenal plays from both teams. But I honestly think the Cassia into the Garrosh was very, very difficult. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see Garrosh being banned out in our next matchup here. We did have 20s achieved for a split second, it looked like. I'm just trying to see if maybe anything just pops out that's out of the ordinary. Manticore. Okay. I honestly... See, the thing is, like... I just like frost shots. I really do. Maybe that's just the pleb in me who wants that, but nothing honestly too out of the ordinary. The life funnel, typically we see the mythical spear for the always pull here, but I guess not. But looks like I'm gonna go ahead and set up our next lobby. We're gonna go ahead and pick up Dragonshire. Go ahead and give a lobby link to the teams. Let them autofill in here. All right, let's see if I can I just want to update all the information that I can talk to you pretty people. Dragonshire update round. Diego Red is on Red Rockets, so that's good. I just need to put this guy in, and I think I can start round 2. No, it won't let me. Okay. So unfortunately, will not update that portion of the asset, but that's okay. So Masterfish had the ban before. I think it's just these two, right? I'm like 90% sure. Hold on, I'm just making sure that everyone's on the right team. Yes. Oops. Copy message, lobby, paste. Away draft. Draft starting team is Red Rockets, so that's gonna be that. Swap Eric. No, Eric is on our team now. Swap Eric for full. Okay, my mistake. It is not updating the top bar. I apologize, team. I'm very sorry. Looks like we have the okays from both team. I'm just going to hit the R button, and we will get underway for our next game. Oh, thank you so much, Juji. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the commenting. All right. Looks like we have ours from me and Diego Red. We just got to wait for one more. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the stream, please hit that follow button. If you're really enjoying the stream, hit the sub button. Make my day. Please, 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 please. If you want to keep up to me when I'm going on live, please, you can hit ! Twitter, and then you can also check ! YouTube, where I post most of these Chair League games. If you ever want to go back and see them, or watch any of the VODs, or, well, this VOD. It'll be on my Twitch page till whenever it auto kicks off, and then this VOD will go up on YouTube usually within 48 hours. I work from home, so I can just edit and go. But looks like we should be ready from both teams. All right, I'll give them the 3-second mark. And we are going into our draft here on Dragonshire. First game going over to Red Rockets on Infernal... I keep saying Infernal Shrines. Maybe I just wanted to like cast that game or something. But Battlefield of Eternity was the first map going over to Red Rockets. It's easier to listen to. So this first ban on the side of Red Rockets here. Now, they banned Kael'Thuzad first game. And they didn't have first pick. So what I'm curious is, are they going to try and force... Are they going to try and force Better Than Yesterday to ban out the Kael'Thuzad themselves? Because here's the thing. The Garrosh in the last game was terrifying. And unless they first pick it on the side of Red Rockets, Better Than Yesterday needs to put it in their 1-2 slots, in my opinion. Or they need to ban it out. Now, the thing with Dragonshire... Globals are globals are a pretty big deal here. Dahaka is one of those people that we do typically see, and it looks like they might actually try and prioritize the Dahaka themselves. So they're looking to potentially go ahead and ban out this Falstad, but they're going to go ahead with the Dahaka. Maybe they were looking to do the Falstad themselves into the later game here, or into the later half of their draft. Now, This is where it becomes interesting because that last game, that Garrosh was no thanks. Like, do not want to deal with ever again. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves here is, do you ban Kel'Thuzad or Garrosh? Because the other team, I think they're honestly going to prioritize one in that first slot. I think this is the way that they're going to kind of control the draft here. Adequate mold, I guess this is easier to listen to. I guess I should just switch my entire stream over to just to easy listening, and I can just talk in like very, very relaxed tones into the microphone for hours on end. This is just an ASMR. That's correct, I believe. And it's actually a new Brack ban. They must have felt more threatened by the web wrap in this situation than the Garrosh pull and throw was in my opinion such a playmaker for that last game. And with Kel'Thuzad and Garrosh on the floor, like, what do you really go for at this point? And even then, like, it becomes a kind of a mind game. Like, you're like, oh, all right, there it is. Like, it's it's like one of those situations. Also, by the way, correct color of that skin. Sorry, Brandon. It's like one of those things. Like, they ban out the Anub'arak. They're like, all right, take Kel'Thuzad. Like, do it. We dare you. And so because this like situation, like, well, I have to take Kel'Thuzad. Do we have anyone that can play Kel'Thuzad? Like, he's only been out for a literal week. I mean, like, no one's mastered him by now by any means, I'm assuming, but he's still like his threshold for damage and damage and destruction, like, literally, he's terrifying. And they're going to go ahead and actually run the Uther Greymane combination here. Okay. We saw this in the first game, a priority in the first game by, I believe, Ascension on Dragonshire. I'm wondering if they're going to be going into a similar type draft from there. We saw Joanna with that as well. I mean, honestly, that Garrosh in the first game, the Garrosh in the first game was terrifying. No, I agree. They tried to... Both teams did a hyper carry last game. And so they had the Cassia as their main damage and they had the Vala as their main damage. And they just literally built comps like, we're going to keep Cassia alive forever with the... Yeah, no, I honestly think if they would have replaced the Cassia with a potential Greymane, they might have been a little bit more of a threat in the last game, but... I wasn't even thinking it was the right map. But they're going to go ahead and pick up the Stukov with the Garrosh once again. It was a strong pickup on the last map. This is another map where you do have to fight over a specific point over a long period of time. Stukov does have very good zoning for that. Garrosh does have really good repositioning for those types of fights. So it's like one of those things, like, how do you not... If you have the opportunity to go for it, You have to take it. I mean, these are just extremely strong heroes in our current map hero pool. I personally think that the Uther Greymane focus, I mean, yes, it is a strong combination and is run on this map quite often, but I think that at this point, Red Rockets is just getting whatever they want, and Better Than Yesterday is just trying to kind of draft the composition they want. So this is a little bit of interesting. Oh my god, no. The 110k Vala damage from the last game, adequate mold, was just... When you compared it against everyone else, I think the highest on the enemy team was like 73,000. So, it's terrifying. Or maybe was it 80? I can't remember. Either way, it was like 7... I mean, even then, it's like you're talking a 30 to 40,000 difference in damage. Like, that's a big deal. Now, we are seeing a hover on the Stitches here from Red Rockets. And I wonder if that's just because they're just like, well, the Greymane and the Uther will combo together, so we don't want to deal with the hook into the dive. Sonya on Leap is just a wonderful talent. I absolutely love when Sonya takes Leap. I think it's fun. I think it works well. I mean, obviously, in a team situation, it's way better than in a quick match setting. But I mean, I think that was the map, and that was the game to take Leap. Definitely, Wrath of Berserker is great and all, but I think Leap offers an escape as well as an invade. We often saw that the Joanna in the last map was instigating the fights by literally using Iron Skin and then going into a fight, meaning she had no Iron Skin for the disengage, which meant they were just assuming they would win every single fight they pushed themselves into, which is, it's a good mentality to have, to be that confident, but I don't think it's something that lends to a winning situation. So with that in mind, the Stitches is banned out. Uther and Greymane. Do they go for like a Lunara into... Oh, okay. I'm going to shut up. I was thinking they might go for some range damage and a tank, so I was thinking either Arthas Varian with a Lunara, but they're going to go ahead and get ETC, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a stage dive out of this ETC. They have way too much to interrupt. They have the Q from the Garrosh. They have the Lurking Arm from the Stukov. Kael Thuzad, I believe, can interrupt it with his chain pull. So I believe he can chain one hero to the next, and obviously if there's a Mosh, there's typically a damage dealer right there, so you can chain them together. Mosh and Serap. Mosh is interrupted, and then you get like a Lurking Arm, or you get a counter engagement from that Mosh. So I definitely don't recommend that on the side of Better Than Yesterday, but you never know. I mean, I can theorize all I want, and it doesn't mean that the player will actually do those kind of things. HOTS is honestly, here's the funny thing, Adequate Mold, is this is my first MOBA. I never played a single MOBA before this. I watch the International every year. Don't understand what happens in it. I know about League of Legends. I know the mechanics and how they work. I literally never played them. Lunara and Thrall, okay. They're going for it, they're just going for so much fight. And this is a terrifying composition on the side of Red Rockets. I mean, the poison damage from Lunara, you have the slows and the stuns from the Kael Thuzad, you have the silence from the Stukov, you have the repositioning from the Garrosh, and then you have Thrall, who, I mean, you have a I hope an Earthquake, which will slow everybody down, meaning you can do all these things even better. And then you also have the stun from him as well, and the Chain Lightning just for that extra little bit of range poke. So this is a really, as I was saying at the beginning, Red Rockets, they got the I think they were just like, we're just gonna pick whatever we wanted. Well, no cleanse at the moment from what I see. I don't honestly think there's gonna be a Mosh. There's way too much to interrupt it. And if they do go into it and they are ahead in if Better Than Yesterday gets 10s first, ETC will be holding the Mosh until Red Rockets gets their 10s, because the Sundering from Thrall will be the thing that they want to watch for, as well as the Flailing Swipe. Kael Thuzad has his global stun, which I'm sorry, I don't know the name for it yet. So I honestly think that if they do Mosh, it's a horrible idea. They can pre-cleanse it with the Uther, that's great and all, but there's way too much to interrupt it. But either way, we'll see as we go into this game. On the left-hand side, we have Red Rockets with Kendra on Lunara, Taku on Thrall, Fool on Garrosh, Sir Jinji on Kael Thuzad, and Diego Red on Stukov. On the right-hand side, we have Better Than Yesterday with Marad on Malthios, Sir Sean Sheep on Uther, Zombie Chris on ETC, Eric on Greymane, and Masterfish on Genji. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, and thanks for coming by, Adequate Mold. And thanks to literally everyone who came by and is watching the stream. Really glad that you're watching my casting. As we go into our second game here, we have Red Rockets versus Better Than Yesterday. So I don't know enough about Kael'Thuzad, so I'm sorry. I won't be talking too much on his pickups here. He's been out for a week, and I feel so bad. Alrighty, so here we go into this second game on Dragonshire. Red Rockets up 1 point in this best of 3. I guess 1 game in this best of 3. This is Division 2 playoffs for Chair League, so this is the culmination of a season here. This is definitely you don't want to be knocked out your first round. Do have a little bit of positioning here from both the teams. We do have the ETC sliding in, trying to get onto the Garrus, but we do have a flip onto the Greymane, who's actually going to get slowed, and we actually have a pull in back onto that ETC. And wow, they're getting quite a bit of damage out onto a few of these members. Now the Greymane did try and go in and get a little bit of damage there, but unfortunately just did get slowed, and that range does not make sense to me. He demounted him like just on the edge of that circle. I'm curious to see what kind of... looks like we're going to be doing some rotations here on the side of Better Than Yesterday. They're going to go ahead and rotate into the mid at this point, and I think they're going to do a 4-man here, at least they're leaving their Uther in bottom currently, at least to maybe just soak up some of that side experience as it's coming into the gate. And also maybe just to kind of kite away some of the minion wave here. But we do actually have the Garrosh getting caught out here up against the wall. There is the chains onto the Genji, keeping him away from some of his members so he doesn't get pulled together. Now we do have the rest of the team coming down. And actually the one thing I wanted to note here, Lunar is a direct, and a good counter to the Genji. His low health pool is going to be very, very hard to deal with the poison. But Kael'Thuzad is actually going to be falling here. And that's going to be the first kill going over to Better Than Yesterday. We do currently have in top lane, though, this Thrall going in on the point. He will be able to counteract that, so they cannot channel it in mid just yet. And we do actually have the root from Thrall onto the Malthael. He will have to run away because the Genji did come up, and he unfortunately will not be able to utilize those cannon shots for any damage onto Thrall. Now in mid, we do have a little bit of a skirmish here happening. Looks like ETC will just be backing off, though. They were potentially going in for a small fight. The Garrosh there getting poked a little bit by the Genji. Now, we do have top being held, and they have the channel for a few seconds, but unfortunately, bottom is going to get captured because of the fact that they are dedicating so many assets around the map to kind of push them back in all these lanes. At this point, Red Rockets, they're kind of just, they're playing in the lanes that they want, and they're making these... Ooh, this Lunar... What? What? Better Than Yesterday? Why'd you... You just let Lunara walk right next to you. They do get the double chain onto a couple of the members here. And this is actually going to be currently channeled for Better Than Yesterday. Trying to put their Malthael into that mid lane, but unfortunately the Thrall is currently in top. ETC getting the slide through a couple of the members, pushing it back. There is actually the pull onto one of the members. Now there is the stun onto ETC. He is trying to get away at this point. Now Genji, falling low himself, is able to dash towards his gate, stay safe. Do get the stun onto the Garrosh, who will be able to help channel this Moonshrine back up to full. So this should be the top getting captured. Oh, excuse me. No, Malthael ended up going over there as well. Do actually have Thrall rotating into mid lane. I think that might have been a miscommunication. I don't think they realized that the top was actually, captured over by the Malthael here. Bottom currently, the Genji needing to actually use his dash to make sure that he gets away, because that Lunar Kael'Thuzad would have been just ending to him. Just to get a couple auto attacks off here. But we do actually have the Garrosh getting extremely low in this bottom lane. He might be able to get behind the gate, and he does. There is no cocktail out from the Greymane at this point to get the kill. So Garrosh will be able to get out and live. The channel currently being held over by Better Than Yesterday. And they will not be able to get it just yet. Thrall is in that top lane, currently capturing that top point. Bottom is being contested at this point. 2v2. Healer and tank versus healer and tank. But we do have the Kael'Thuzad currently coming down. They will be able to go ahead and capture this. And they're just going to trade the top for the bottom. And I will note this, the Genji's extremely low, so he needs to be careful. If he gets rooted here, he does get the deflect, but he will actually get taking a hammer to the face, what just happened there. I have no idea. Currently, though, we do have the Lunara being able to pick up the Dragonite. They do not cancel it in time at the top with that Malthael. This is going to be the first Dragonite going over to Red Rockets. They're going to currently just walk this beast down the mid lane with their healer and their Kael'thas Zod. I guess I'll just say Mage. But it looks like Stukov will be just hiding in that bush, getting a little bit of that silence out, zoning a few of the members away. We currently have the Dragonite rotating into that bottom lane, into that Garrosh. Now, it was pushed back by him a little bit here, so they utilize that Dragon to clear the minion wave as quickly as possible. Now, we do have a flank, actually, from the Genji onto Stukov, trying to provide a little bit of that poke damage. There's the pull and the flip onto the ETC. Unfortunately, he gets right out of there without a problem. Now, they're going to go ahead, and they have the throw currently in top lane, so they have... Better Than Yesterday is going to send their Malthael up against him still. And this is just a 4v4 with the Dragonite. The Genji's currently poking that backline enough to kind of pull them away from each other, leaving the Garrosh kind of by himself. Looks like he might be falling here. Now, there are just a lot of auto attacks, and this is where his physical shielding is really powerful. They actually get the lock onto the ETC, but unfortunately there's no one to really chain him to or follow up the damage, so they won't be getting too much from that, but just really just slowing this down. The Genji does have to use his Cyber Agility, I believe is the name, to dash forward there. They do get the chain onto the ETC. No combination, though. That sidewall is definitely... Thumbs up from the ETC. He approved of that that gank attempt. But at this point, we are going to see these two camps being picked up by Red Rockets. They're going to try and just push these into the the bottom and the top lane. This is also tens for them, too. So they want to utilize this time extremely quickly. Maybe potentially taking a fight into that mid lane. No, you can't really go on onto the Genji. He'll just dash away from you. But this is tense for both teams. And we actually have the D-Shield Mosh. I was completely wrong. I completely negated